Tomorrow was Nate's birthday, 3 years old. He'd been talking about it for weeks, telling strangers in the grocery store that he was turning free and asking if T-Rexes came to birthday parties. I had the whole thing planned. Balloons, cake, a giant inflatable dino, the kind that roars when you walk past it. He was going to love it. That's why I left work early that day. I wanted to spend the afternoon with him, just the two of us. Maybe take him to the park, pick out his birthday outfit, grab some decorations. My wife said she'd be working from home all day, said she needed the quiet to finish a project. But when I pulled into the driveway, there was a red sedan parked out front. I didn't recognize it. I knew every neighbor's car, every delivery truck. This one wasn't from the block. My stomach went tight. Still, I tried to brush it off. Maybe it was a client, a friend, her sister. I walked up the porch and quietly let myself in, holding the dino puzzle I bought Nate, a last-minute pickup from the drugstore. He loved puzzles. Always tried to fit pieces together too fast, getting frustrated and grunting like some miniature caveman. The house was silent. No laptop keyboard clicking. No phone on speaker. No cartoons playing in the background. I called out, "Hey, I'm home," but got nothing. And then I heard something. Not loud. Not obvious. But enough. A noise from upstairs. Something rhythmic. And a man's voice. I froze. I don't know how long I stood there. 10 seconds? Maybe less. My ears were ringing. My legs moved without asking my brain's permission. I went up. And what I saw at the top of those stairs, I'll never unsee it. Our bedroom door was cracked open. A man's clothes on the floor. Her leg, just barely visible, stretched across the edge of the bed. And her voice. That high, fake laugh. The one she used when she was trying to charm someone. She hadn't laughed like that around me in months. I didn't kick the door open. Didn't storm in. I just stood there, frozen. And then he walked out, shirtless, tall. Some gym guy I vaguely recognized from her Instagram stories. One of the trainers at her fitness club, I think. He stopped when he saw me. No apology. No panic. Just a smug, awkward little grin. I didn't say a word. I turned, went back down the stairs, grabbed my keys off the hook, and drove straight to Nate's daycare. He ran up to me yelling "Dada," like nothing had happened. Like his whole world hadn't just cracked in half. I buckled him into his seat and didn't tell him why Mommy wasn't coming with us. That night, we stayed at my brother's place. Nate fell asleep on my chest while watching Paw Patrol. I lay there for hours, not moving, just listening to him breathe. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew one thing for sure. She wasn't who I thought she was. She didn't call that night. Not once. No texts. No, "Where are you?" No, "Is Nate okay?" Nothing. That silence said everything. I didn't sleep much. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her. Her laugh. That pink robe slipping off her shoulder. That guy's face like he owned the house. Like I was the intruder. My brother didn't ask many questions. He just let me crash on the couch, handed me a spare phone charger and a blanket, and kept things quiet. He's been through his own kind of heartbreak. He knew the look in my eyes. The next morning, my phone finally lit up. 8:13 a.m. "Can we talk?" I didn't answer. 8:47 a.m. "You took Nate without saying anything. You can't just do that." That one got to me. The nerve. I can't take my own son? 10 minutes later, she called. I let it ring. Then again. I finally picked up on the third try. Her voice was calm. Practiced. "Hey, I know how that must have looked, but it's really not what you think." I didn't respond. "I think we just need to talk, face to face. There's a lot going on you don't understand." She always did this, made herself the victim the moment things got hard. Acted like the truth was some puzzle only she could solve, and I was too emotional to get it. So I said, "Where's your gym buddy?" Silence. Then, "That's not fair." I laughed. Actually laughed. Bitter and short. She kept going. "Look, it was a mistake. It wasn't serious. You came home without telling me. I didn't even have time to..." Time to what? Clean up. She went quiet again. "I want to see Nate," she said finally. "Now you remember him?" More silence. Then she sighed, long and dramatic. "I'm coming over." "No, you're not." "Excuse me. You're not stepping near him right now. You don't get to play mom when it suits you." I hung up. I expected her to show up anyway. She didn't. Instead, she sent a long email. Pages of justification. How she'd been unfulfilled. how she felt trapped, how she didn't want to hurt anyone. She called it an emotional connection that got physical. Like putting it in polite terms made it any less disgusting. She never once said sorry. Not for what Nate saw. Not for what she did in our home. Just a wall of words about her needs. She never even asked if our son had cried that night. He had. I don't remember the last time I felt anger like that. Not yelling anger, the quiet, deep kind. The kind that changes you. Like someone lit a fire in your chest and then walked away while it burned. I didn't tell anyone else yet. Not my parents. Not her family. Not our friends. I wasn't ready to make it real. But I knew it was real. That next morning, I watched Nate eat his cereal while swinging his legs under the kitchen table, asking if Mommy was coming for his birthday. And I lied. I said she had to work. The party was small. Just my brother, his wife, and their kids. Balloons from the grocery store. A sheet cake with plastic dinosaurs on top. And a 3 candle that melted too fast. But Nate was happy. That's all I cared about. He tore into his presents like a maniac, roaring every time he opened a new dino toy. And for a little while, I forgot. I actually forgot. Until he asked, "Where's Mommy?" That one knocked the air out of me. "She's not feeling well," I said. My sister-in-law gave me a look. She knew something was off. I saw her exchange a glance with my brother across the kitchen, but they didn't say anything in front of Nate. After the party, I put him to bed in the guest room and sat out on the back porch with a beer I didn't really want. That's when my phone buzzed again. Another message from her. "We need to talk. For Nate's sake." That phrase again. For Nate's sake. She kept using it like some magic phrase that would make everything okay. As if invoking our son gave her a moral high ground. But I agreed. Not for her. For myself. I told her we'd meet at a park, neutral ground. Public. Daylight. No surprises. She showed up dressed like she was going to brunch. Hair done. Makeup on. Like she needed to look composed for the part she was about to play. She walked up with a fake smile and arms open like nothing had happened. I didn't hug her. She sat down on the bench next to me and said, "I didn't plan for you to find out like that." I said nothing. "It wasn't serious," she continued. "It just happened." "Is he married?" I asked. That one caught her off guard. A flicker. Barely noticeable, but it was there. "No," she said too quickly. "He's not." I nodded. "Right." Then I asked something I wasn't even sure I wanted the answer to. "How long?" She hesitated. "A couple of weeks," she said. "Maybe 3. I looked at her, right in the eyes. She looked away. "Tell me the truth," I said. Calm. Quiet. She shifted in her seat. "I don't know what you want from me. Punishment? Are you going to take him away from me?" I stared at her. "You did that yourself." She started crying. Right on cue. Tears, trembling lip, the whole performance. I sat there and watched it like I was seeing a stranger. I'd seen her cry before. Real tears. When Nate was born. When her dad died. This wasn't that. This was calculated. "You've always been cold," she said suddenly, through the sobs. "Always focused on work. On the house. On fixing things instead of just listening." There it was. The blame shift. "I was raising a kid," I said. "I was keeping the lights on. I was building a home you just let someone else walk into. You don't understand what it's like to feel invisible." That one made me laugh. For real. Short. Bitter. "I saw you," I said. "Every day. Even when you didn't see me." She stood up like she was the one who'd just been wounded. "I'm going to fight for custody," she said. "I won't let you take him from me." I didn't say a word. But that was the moment something shifted in me. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't even scared of what she'd done. She was only scared of losing control. And control was the one thing I was never giving back. She started damage control the very next day. First, it was the social media posts, pictures of Nate, old ones, with captions like, "My whole world," and "Being a mom is the greatest gift." Stuff she hadn't posted in months. Maybe longer. Then she started texting friends. People we both knew. People we grew up with. "I'm just going through a hard time right now. Please keep us in your prayers." Not a word about the guy from the bedroom. Not a word about the betrayal. Just enough vagueness to paint herself as the one who'd been hurt. One friend, mutual friend, sent me screenshots. Said they didn't like how things were being twisted. "She's telling people you've been checked out for months," the friend wrote. "That she begged you to go to counseling, but you refused. That you've been sleeping in the guest room for a year." None of it was true. We'd had arguments, sure. What couple doesn't? But I kissed her goodnight just a week ago. We'd made pancakes on Sunday. She laughed at a TikTok I showed her. There was no slow unraveling, no distant, loveless stretch. She just flipped, like she was waiting for a reason. That same week, I got a call from daycare. One of the staff pulled me aside when I picked Nate up, said his mom had come by that afternoon, unannounced, asking to take him out early. They didn't let her. Until we have clarity on custody, they told her, we need written approval from both parents. She stormed out. That night she showed up at my brother's place. No warning, banging on the door like the house was on fire. I opened it a crack. She pushed against it. Let me see my son, she hissed. He's asleep. You can't just keep him from me. You cheated on me in the house where he sleeps. Her eyes narrowed. That has nothing to do with Nate. It has everything to do with Nate. And it did. Because trust isn't just about sex. It's about safety, about stability, about knowing the person beside you won't torch everything for a moment of attention. She threatened me that night, said she'd get a lawyer, said she'd take me to court, said I'd regret this. Then, right as she turned to leave, she played her last card. You're not perfect either, she snapped. You think everyone's going to take your side? You've made mistakes. I didn't answer. I watched her walk to that red sedan, the same one from that day. She didn't even look embarrassed anymore. Just angry, like I was the one who betrayed her. That's when I decided to document everything. Every text, every call, every pickup and drop-off. I created a shared folder, backed up photos, saved voicemails, logged every time she missed or tried to rearrange her time with Nate, because I didn't know when the fight was coming, but I knew it was coming. It started with a knock at my door. A process server, polite, almost apologetic. He handed me a manila envelope and said, "You've been served." Inside, a petition for shared custody. She'd lawyered up. She was requesting alternating weeks with Nate, joint decision-making, and this one hit me, child support. From me. As if cheating wasn't enough, now I was supposed to pay her for it. I sat at the kitchen table staring at the paperwork like it was written in another language. My hands were shaking, but not from fear, from disbelief, from rage I hadn't let myself feel until that moment. This wasn't about Nate. This was about her image, about staying in control, and about punishing me for catching her. I called a lawyer that afternoon. He was calm, professional, asked questions I wasn't ready to answer. Do you have evidence of infidelity? Yes. Photos? No. But I saw it with my own eyes. Do you have texts? Messages? Anything suggesting neglect or instability? I showed him the screenshots, the messages she'd sent after the fact, the call logs, the time she showed up at daycare trying to pull Nate out without consent. He nodded slowly. It's a start. We filed a response. My lawyer advised we play it steady. No wild accusations. Just stick to the facts. She'll dig her own hole, he said. And she did. Because 2 weeks later, she tried to claim I was emotionally volatile, that Nate seemed nervous around me, that I'd kidnapped him from daycare the day I left, even though I was listed as primary pickup and staff had already signed him out to me. We showed the receipts, email logs, video footage. Strike one for her. Then she said I alienated her from her son, but I had text messages where I offered scheduled meetups, and she either canceled or tried to change the time last minute. Strike two. But the worst part, the part I'll never forget, was when she tried to use Nate's birthday against me. She said I excluded her, that I intentionally kept her from an important emotional milestone. I had to sit there in a courtroom and listen to her pretend she'd planned to come, pretend she'd had a gift, a card, that she was just too heartbroken to show up. My lawyer handed over a printed copy of her texts from the day of the party. There wasn't a single mention of Nate. She'd spent the whole afternoon trying to justify what I saw in our bedroom. The judge read the papers, then looked at her. And I swear for the first time she blinked, like she finally realized she wasn't fooling anyone. The court didn't make a ruling that day. It was just a temporary hearing. But I walked out with primary custody pending final decisions. She got supervised weekends, every other one. She didn't say a word when she left the courthouse. Just walked past me like a stranger. And I thought, that's all she ever was. The thing about people like her, they don't just lie to you. They lie to themselves. And when the story they've built starts falling apart, they don't apologize. They just build a new one. After the court granted me temporary primary custody, she flipped the narrative completely. To her friends, I had trapped her in the marriage. To her parents, I was turning Nate against her. She posted vague, attention-seeking quotes on social media. You know the kind. Sometimes the people who are supposed to love you the most are the ones who break you the worst. Fighting for your child shouldn't make you the villain. No one asked her about the man in our bed. No one asked where she was on her son's birthday. But people started asking me. Friends, acquaintances, a couple coworkers. Hey, I heard you and Leah are splitting. That sucks, man. I thought you guys were solid. I didn't trash her. I never did. Even when I wanted to. All I ever said was, it's complicated. But people talk. And slowly, her version of the story started to unravel. One of her former coworkers reached out to me. Said she'd seen Leah with that guy long before I found out. That they used to take extended lunch breaks. Sometimes disappear for hours, leaving clients hanging. She used to brag about it, she told me. Like it made her feel powerful. Said he made her feel seen. Whatever that means. Then came the photos. I got them anonymously. I don't know who sent them. Someone with a private account. No name. Just a message that said, you should have these. You deserve the truth. The pictures were from a hotel parking lot. Her car. His car. The two of them kissing beside it in broad daylight. The timestamp? Nearly 6 weeks before the day I caught them. So much for a couple weeks. I showed them to my lawyer. He didn't even flinch. Let her keep talking, he said. The more she says, the deeper she digs. And she kept talking. She demanded makeup visits with Nate, but every time I agreed to one, she either showed up late, canceled last minute, or spent the whole time on her phone. Nate stopped asking for her. That was the hardest part. He didn't cry when she left. He didn't ask when she was coming back. He just moved on, quietly, like kids do when they realize someone isn't dependable. At one point, she tried to drop off a birthday gift a month late, a noisy, overpriced remote-control dinosaur. Nate played with it once, then went back to his wooden puzzle set from the party. I found it in the closet a week later, still in the bag, forgotten. That's when it hit me. You don't have to tell a child the truth. They feel it. It was a Tuesday night when she crossed the line. I'd just gotten Nate to bed. He wanted to sleep with his little flashlight under the blanket again, pretending he was camping. I let him. After everything, I figured he deserved a win. I was cleaning up dinner when I saw headlights pull into the driveway. Her car. I stepped outside before she could ring the doorbell and wake Nate up. She got out fast, moving like she'd been rehearsing this. I'm taking him, she said. No, you're not. She looked me dead in the eyes. You don't get to do this. He's my son too. You've got court-ordered weekends. That's it. She pushed past me like I wasn't even there. I grabbed her arm, not hard, just enough to stop her. You're not going in there. Her eyes flashed. Don't touch me. Then don't walk into my house uninvited. She backed up, shaking her head. This is abuse. You're abusing your power. You're turning him against me. I stayed calm. That was the hardest part. I wanted to yell, to scream, to tell her everything I'd kept bottled up, but I knew she was baiting me, waiting for me to explode, give her something to use. So I said, go home. She didn't move. I pulled out my phone and started recording. Just calmly held it up, camera pointed at her. She stared at it for a few seconds, then turned and walked back to her car. But before she got in, she said something I'll never forget. Keep him. See how long you last without breaking. She slammed the door and drove off. The next morning, I sent the footage to my lawyer. This is good, he said. It's reckless. And it shows intent. That same day, she sent a barrage of texts. You can't keep hiding behind court orders. You're poisoning him against me. He's going to hate you for this one day. I didn't respond to any of them. Not one. Instead, we filed for a modification to restrict her access even further. My lawyer also submitted a request for a child psychologist to evaluate Nate. Not to weaponize him, just to make sure he was okay. I needed to know what this was doing to him, and if there was anything she was doing when I wasn't there. The court approved it. The first session was scheduled for the following week. Nate didn't really understand what it was for. I told him it was like a special play date with someone who wanted to hear about his favorite things. He brought his T-Rex with him. The counselor told me to wait in the hallway. I sat there staring at a fish tank while my son was in a room with someone I didn't know, being asked questions I couldn't hear. 45 minutes later, The counselor came out. She gave me a soft smile. "You did great," she said. "Very bright, very expressive." Then she paused. "There are some things we'll need to talk about." I nodded. She handed me a clipboard. It had 3 sentences circled. Things Nate had said. One of them stopped my heart. "Mommy says Daddy is lying to the judge." I sat in the passenger seat of my lawyer's car, reading the counselor's report. I'd asked him to meet me somewhere neutral, not the office, not a courtroom, just a quiet diner with bad coffee and tired booths. I needed a moment to breathe. He slid the folder across the table and said, "Brace yourself." The report was 9 pages. It was clinical, careful with language, but you could read between the lines. Nate was doing okay, not great, but okay. He had some anxiety. He was sensitive to tense environments. The counselor noted that he showed signs of parental coaching. She wrote, "The child, when asked about his parents, appears affectionate toward both, but uses language that seems inconsistent with a 3-year-old's independent expression. In particular, references to legal proceedings, courtroom terms, and accusatory statements appear to be learned, not organic." She underlined 2 things Nate had said more than once. "Mommy says Daddy's trying to steal me. Mommy said the judge is only on Daddy's side because he's a man." There it was. Parental alienation. Subtle, not violent, but enough to matter. My lawyer leaned back in his seat. "She's digging her own grave." I didn't feel joy. I felt sick. She didn't just cheat on me. She tried to poison our son. I asked him, "What happens next?" He said, "We file to restrict her further. If the judge agrees, she'll get monitored visits only, possibly even supervised by a professional, depending how hard she pushes back." I nodded. "Do it." Over the next few days, things changed fast. She must have gotten wind of the report, because her tone flipped overnight. No more threats. No more insults. Now it was, "We're still a family, you know. I never wanted this to become ugly. Can we just talk? Without lawyers?" I didn't respond. She sent a photo of Nate from a visit months ago, one of the rare ones she showed up for. Caption, "He misses me. You know he does." I knew what she was doing. She wanted me to feel guilty. She wanted to rewind the clock, erase everything between that moment and the day I saw her in our bedroom with another man. But you can't undo betrayal. You can only survive it. The court date for the final custody hearing was set. 2 weeks out. We were going back into the courtroom. Only this time, I wasn't the one on defense. The courtroom was cold. Not just the temperature, the atmosphere. No smiles. No casual chatter. Just papers shuffling, lawyers murmuring, and that awful echo that makes every breath feel louder than it should. She walked in 10 minutes late, wearing a beige coat over a black dress. Hair done. That same fake composure I'd seen the first time we met after I caught her cheating. The same "this is all just a misunderstanding" face. She didn't look at me. Not once. The judge took the bench at exactly 9 o'clock. No jury. Just a bench trial. One decision maker. Her attorney went first. He painted a picture of a committed mother who was fighting for time with her child after a breakdown in communication. He avoided the word infidelity. He avoided the word manipulation. He said she was remorseful, that she regretted how things unfolded. He actually used the word unfolded, like the betrayal was a napkin at dinner. Then it was our turn. My lawyer didn't attack. He just presented the counselor's report, the daycare logs, the visitation records, screenshots of her messages, the video from the night she came to the house demanding Nate, the photos from the hotel parking lot. One by one, they stacked on the table. Not accusations, facts. Documented, time-stamped, sourced. When they brought up the counselor, she testified calmly, professionally. But what she said, that landed hard. The child expressed repeated phrases that align closely with language used in litigation. There is a concern that one parent may be influencing the child's perception of the other in a manner that could affect emotional development. I glanced at the judge. He wrote that part down. Then it was time for her to speak. She took the stand with that familiar tearful voice, not crying yet, but dancing on the edge of it. She said she felt shut out, that I isolated her, that she made a mistake, but it didn't define who she was as a parent. Then my lawyer stood up. "Did you ever refer to the child's father as a liar?" "I don't recall." "Did you ever say he was trying to steal your son?" "No." "Did you ever tell your son that the judge favored men?" "That's ridiculous." He nodded. then handed the judge the counselor's transcript, pointed to the exact lines Nate repeated, verbatim. She froze. No tears now, just silence. And then, finally, her voice cracked. I was upset, she said. I didn't think he'd remember. That's what broke it. That one sentence. The courtroom was still. My lawyer sat down. Nothing else needed to be said. The judge didn't rule right away. He said he'd issue the final decision in writing within a week. But when she stepped down from the stand, she didn't look like someone who still thought she might win. She looked like someone who had finally seen what she'd done. And there was no one left to blame. The email came on a Thursday. Subject line, final ruling, custody judgment attached. I didn't open it right away. I just stared at my screen for a while, breathing like I'd run a mile. Nate was napping on the couch with his T-Rex under his arm. Everything felt still. Then I clicked it. The ruling wasn't long. 3 pages. The judge didn't write emotionally. It was all structured, factual, precise. But the core of it was this. Primary custody awarded to the father. Visitation limited to bi-weekly, supervised by a court-appointed monitor. All parental communication to be conducted through a monitored parenting app. Any future modifications require documented behavioral improvement. I read it twice. Not because I didn't believe it, but because it didn't feel like winning. It felt like a slow breath after being underwater for too long. I forwarded it to my lawyer. He called within minutes. You okay? He asked. I think so, I said. She can appeal, he reminded me. She won't. He didn't argue, because we both knew she didn't have anything left to throw. No more stories. No more surprises. The day after the ruling, she texted me once through the court app. I hope you're happy. I didn't reply. That night, I picked up pizza on the way home. Nate helped me carry the box inside. He asked if we could build his dino puzzle after dinner. We sat on the living room floor. Just the two of us. The pieces were scattered, flipped the wrong way, and he got frustrated like always. Grunted, frowned, looked at me with that scrunched-up face. I laughed and helped him find the corner pieces first. No rush, I told him. We'll figure it out. And we did, piece by piece.